When the alarm rings each morning, life itself is calling you. It's reminding you that this day will never come again, and what you decide to do with it will push you closer to your destiny or pull you further from it. Most people wait for motivation to show up before they move, but the truth is, movement creates motivation. So when your eyes open, don't bargain with the pillow, don't negotiate with tiredness, and don't postpone the life you say you want. Stand up, get your feet on the ground, let your mind speak louder than your mood. Tell yourself, this is my day, and I'm going to make it count. Because the world doesn't reward hesitation, it rewards action. And every morning you get a brand new chance to choose action. So jump out of bed, not because it's easy, but because your future deserves a stronger start than comfort can offer. Today is waiting on you. Make the first move. The first moments of your morning carry a power most people underestimate, yet they shape the entire rhythm of your day in ways that ripple far beyond the clock. When you wake up, your mind is in its most programmable state, open, impressionable, and ready to follow whichever direction you point it toward. If those first moments are spent in hesitation, scrolling, complaining, or convincing yourself you need 5 more minutes, you unintentionally set a tone of delay and resistance. Your mind learns to move slowly, to negotiate, to avoid, and that sluggish beginning spreads into your decisions, your work, and your emotional state. But when you choose to direct your morning with intention, when you decide that the very first thing you do aligns with discipline, clarity, and purpose, you create momentum. And momentum is one of the most powerful forces in human behavior. It pushes you forward even when motivation feels low, because once you start moving in the right direction, it becomes easier to keep going. The idea that the first moments define the day isn't just poetic, it's practical. Psychology. Your brain releases different chemicals based on your actions. If your first act is disciplined, your brain rewards you with a sense of capability and control. If your first act is avoidance, your brain experiences stress signals before the day has even started. This is why people who start the day with strong routines often report feeling more grounded, more productive, and more emotionally stable. They created a foundation instead of stepping into chaos. Think of it like steering a ship. The first degree you turn the wheel sets the entire journey. 1 degree off at the beginning may seem tiny, but hours later you're miles away from where you intended to be. In the same way, your morning choices are small, but their long-term effect is enormous. Another reason the first moments matter is because they protect you from the world's noise. As soon as you step into your day, 1,000 things demand your attention. Messages, responsibilities, distractions, expectations. If you wait too long to anchor yourself, the world will pull you in every direction except the one you planned. But when you claim those early moments as your own, when you decide that your day begins on your terms, you strengthen a quiet inner authority that carries through everything you do. You walk differently, think differently, decide differently because you began the day leading yourself instead of reacting to everything around you. The truth is, discipline is easiest in the morning, not because you feel strong, but because you haven't yet given your mind a chance to talk you out of the things you know you should do. Thoughts of doubt, laziness, or overwhelm grow stronger as the day goes on, but in the beginning, when everything is still quiet, you have a brief window where intention has more power than emotion. Use that window. Give your future an aggressive start. Stand up even when your body wants comfort. Move even when your thoughts want softness, because the way you begin becomes the way you continue. And if you want a day filled with strength, clarity, and progress, it must start the moment you open your eyes and choose who you will be for the rest of the hours ahead. Energy is not something you wait for. It's something you create through intention, movement, and mindset. Most people believe they must feel energized before they start their day, their work, or their goals, but the truth is the opposite. Energy doesn't magically appear. It is produced by action. When you move your body, your heart rate rises, your breathing deepens, and your mind wakes up. Your physical state begins to shape your emotional state, and suddenly you feel more alive, more focused, and more capable. This is why those who take control of their mornings don't rely on motivation. They rely on generating energy through deliberate action. Waiting for energy is passive. Creating energy is powerful. Many people fall into the trap of telling themselves that once they feel ready, they will begin. But readiness is a myth created by comfort. If you wait for perfect energy, perfect clarity, or perfect excitement, you end up postponing your progress over and over again. You train your mind to expect the feeling first, and when the feeling doesn't arrive, you do nothing. But when you choose to act first before your emotions catch up, you set a new pattern. You teach your body and mind that movement comes before motivation, that energy is a result, not a requirement. This shift alone can change the course of your mornings, your productivity, and your entire life. Energy is also shaped by the standards you set for yourself. If you start your day slowly, dragging yourself from one moment to the next, you create a habit of low energy. But if you start your day with intention, standing tall, breathing deeply, speaking with conviction, moving with purpose, you begin to generate a higher internal frequency. Your posture, your breath, your thoughts, and your actions all signal to you how much energy to release. High energy isn't luck. It's self-leadership. It's choosing to command your state instead of surrendering to whatever mood you wake up with. Another important truth is that energy multiplies when you attach it to purpose. When you remind yourself why you are getting up, why your goals matter, and why your future is worth fighting for, your mind becomes sharper and your body becomes more responsive. Purpose fuels energy the same way oxygen fuels fire. The clearer your reason, the stronger your flame. When you combine physical movement with mental intention, you create a powerful synergy that can carry you through challenges, distractions, and fatigue. The people who seem naturally energetic aren't gifted. They are committed. They have learned that energy is a daily choice. Every morning, you either step into a state that lifts you or fall into one that drains you. And the difference between the two is not emotion. It is deliberate action that generates the energy your goals demand. Your purpose must be stronger than your excuses, because excuses are always ready, always convenient, and always appealing in the moment, while purpose demands consistency, clarity, and sacrifice. Excuses come from comfort, purpose comes from conviction. When you wake up in the morning, your mind will offer you a dozen reasons to stay where you are. You're tired, it's too early, you deserve a break, you can start tomorrow. These excuses feel true because they protect you from discomfort, but they also block you from progress. Purpose, on the other hand, pulls you forward. It reminds you why the struggle matters, why the early mornings are necessary, why the effort is worth it. Purpose gives you a direction that excuses can never match. Most people lose momentum not because they lack talent or opportunity, but because their excuses overpower their reason. When your purpose is weak, the smallest inconvenience can stop you. A missed alarm, a bad mood, a little stress, or a moment of self-doubt becomes enough to slow your progress. But when your purpose is strong, deep, meaningful, and emotionally rooted, obstacles shrink. You no longer ask, do I feel like it? You ask, does this move me closer to the life I want? That question alone separates those who try from those who transform. Excuses also work because they disguise themselves as logic. They sound reasonable. Just today I'll take it easy, or I'll start when things calm down, or I don't have enough time. But time is made, not found. Energy is generated, not waited for. Motivation is created, not discovered. A strong purpose cuts through these illusions and exposes excuses for what they really are. Delays that steal your potential one day at a time. When you stay connected to your purpose, you stop negotiating with your limitations and start negotiating with your possibilities. Purpose brings structure to your actions. It gives your mornings meaning, your work direction, and your habits a reason to exist. Without purpose, every challenge feels heavier. With purpose, every challenge becomes part of the journey. Purpose transforms discipline from something painful into something rewarding. It gives you a reason to get up when comfort whispers louder than ambition. It gives you resilience when setbacks arrive. It gives you fire when the day feels slow and uncertain. A strong purpose doesn't eliminate excuses, it simply outweighs them. The excuses remain, but they lose their power because something greater stands behind your decisions. When you build your life around purpose, you stop living by feelings and start living by intention. And that shift becomes the difference between staying stuck and rising into the life you were meant to create. Success begins with the decision to act, not the feeling to act, because waiting for the perfect moment or the right emotion is the fastest way to remain stagnant. Too many people believe that motivation or inspiration must come first, That energy must arrive before they take the first step. But emotions are fleeting, unpredictable, and often unreliable. Some mornings you wake up excited, but the next morning you may feel drained or unmotivated. If you wait for feelings to dictate your actions, your goals remain dreams and your potential goes unrealized. Action precedes emotion. The moment you decide to move, to start, to push forward despite uncertainty, your body and mind respond, creating the momentum and energy you thought you were waiting for. The power of deciding to act lies in its immediacy. You don't need permission from your mood or validation from circumstance. You simply choose. That choice, simple as it may seem, is the seed from which all results grow. Every accomplishment, no matter how small or large, began with one decision: to do, to try, to step forward when hesitation whispered otherwise. When you act first, your mind catches up to your behavior. Confidence grows, focus sharpens, and energy amplifies. Action is the bridge between intention and outcome, the engine that turns dreams into reality. Another critical aspect is that action builds resilience. Waiting for perfect conditions or ideal feelings makes you fragile, dependent on the external world. But when you act regardless of how you feel, you train yourself to adapt, persist, and overcome obstacles. Each time you push forward despite discomfort, you strengthen the muscle of discipline. You create a habit of follow-through that carries you past resistance and fear. In fact, action is often the antidote to doubt. The very moment you start, your doubts begin to shrink because you are proving to yourself that you can move despite them. Action also eliminates procrastination. The human mind naturally resists effort, overestimates difficulty, and exaggerates the comfort of delay. By making the decision to act immediately, you interrupt the mental patterns that allow hesitation to flourish. Even imperfect action is more powerful than waiting for perfect action, because movement creates clarity, momentum, and insight that sitting still never provides. In truth, waiting for motivation is passive. Deciding to act is aggressive, intentional, and empowering. Success is rarely a result of waiting for the right feeling. It is a result of deciding, starting, and persisting until the results arrive. Every great achievement, every breakthrough, every forward step begins with a simple, decisive act of choosing to do. Discipline builds the future your emotions cannot, because emotions are temporary, inconsistent, and easily influenced by circumstances, while discipline is steady, deliberate, and rooted in commitment. Your emotions may push you forward one day and hold you back the next, but discipline remains the quiet anchor that keeps your life aligned with your long-term vision. The challenge most people face is believing they must feel inspired before they act, but waiting for the right emotion is the fastest way to lose momentum. Emotions shift with sleep, stress, weather, conversations, memories, and even the smallest inconvenience. Discipline, however, is not dependent on mood. It is a decision you honor regardless of how you feel in the moment. When you rely on discipline, you don't gamble your future on how motivated you wake up. You build your future on what you've committed to do. A powerful thing happens when discipline becomes your foundation. You start trusting yourself. When you do what you said you would do, the inner dialogue becomes stronger, sharper, and more confident. You no longer wonder whether you'll follow through. You simply do. This internal reliability compounds like interest in a bank account. Every day you choose discipline, you deposit strength, clarity, and belief into your future. And over time, those deposits grow into skills, habits, and results that emotions alone could never have produced. People who achieve great things don't do it because they always feel good. They do it because they refuse to let temporary feelings dictate permanent outcomes. Discipline also protects you from the chaos of impulse. Emotions often push you toward what feels good now, not what is good for you later. They lure you into comfort, distraction, and quick rewards. But comfort never builds greatness, distraction never builds mastery, and quick rewards never build the life you envision. Discipline teaches you to delay gratification, to choose the difficult road when necessary, and to act according to your values rather than your moods. It strengthens your ability to stay focused when others drift, to stay committed when others quit, and to stay consistent when others crumble. The future you want, health, success, stability, growth, peace, cannot be built on emotional waves. It requires the steady hammer of disciplined action. Every early morning you rise when you could sleep longer. Every moment you work when no one is watching. Every time you choose the harder right over the easier wrong, you are shaping a future that your emotions alone could never create. Discipline is the architect of your destiny, laying brick after brick, even on the days when your feelings try to pull you off the path.